And if one of you can tell me that you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see. We can see, please.
Okay, very good. So I'm going to start my presentation by sharing my email with all the participants. So welcome participants, good evening and good morning and good afternoon, wherever you are right now. I'm very happy to be here to help you with why should we care about assessment and how should we do it. Online assessment by itself is a daunting task. But when it comes to online assessment, we have extra challenges with that. So my goal here is to be able to successfully walk you through some crucial steps so that you can be on your way to start with a good assessment process at your end. And if there are any questions to you, you can write in the chat box or raise your hand, and we will have administration open your mic and you will be able to ask that question. Besides that, this is my email. If any questions come to mind later, that is a good idea to send it to me, and I will be happy to help as a Qaid Azam University alumna to you. And this is my LinkedIn address. So being on the LinkedIn is a great thing these days because you make a lot of connections, and through me you can make secondary connections which can be very helpful for you, for your career and for your university. So I would like to start by telling you where I am. So this is a map of Wisconsin. Wisconsin is like a hand, so for example, if I hold my hand like this, so you can see that here is the thumb and here is the palm of the hand. Milwaukee is on the southeast side right here. And you can on this map see that on our north is Michigan, which is very cold, just like Milwaukee itself. And on the south, we have Minnesota and Iowa. And on the east side, if we go south, we end up in Chicago within an hour drive. And on the right-hand side here, on the east side, you see all this water. This is called Lake Michigan. This is my husband standing here, and with him actually is standing one of the alum of Qaid Azam University, who was my batch mate, Mr. Sohail Ghani, and who now is actually a provost for a controller, sorry, for a very long time for the ComSats University, and has a lot to offer in terms of like teaching exams and how the controller details work. Behind them, you can see actually the Lake Michigan. And Lake Michigan is like, whenever we take somebody to Lake Michigan, they say, oh, it's not a lake, it's like a whole, it's like a ocean, because you actually cannot see where it ends. But this lake runs, if we can take the ferry in the lake, and it will go all the way to Michigan. So you can go from Milwaukee to Michigan on a ferry in water. And then on the right-hand side, I am showing you that when it is winter, I would like you to see that how everything freezes. So this is Milwaukee River, and everything freezes. The whole river freezes to a point that you can walk on the river. So it is like pretty cold region. Here, I would like you to show BioE. BioE stands for Biomolecular Engineering, the program that I made. I would like to share a little bit placement data. See, when we talk about assessment, everything is about, are we getting our students placed successfully or not? Because if we do correct assessment along with the correct teaching techniques and with our abilities, when the student goes out, the student should be able to find a job. So starting from my first class in this program was 2013. So from 2013 onward, I would like you to see that students actually have gone into graduate schools like Caltech, like UCSF, like University of California, Los Angeles. They have gone to John Hopkins. They have gone to UC Berkeley, UC Davis, and then they also have gone into international industries, small industries and large industries like Snedgen. You can see elemental enzymes here. Here somebody has gone to Purdue University. So about half of the class ends up in the graduate school and rest of the half goes in the industry. And that basically marks the success of a good curriculum and good assessment. So if the assessment and curriculum go hand in hand and match each other, your students should get a job in the market, because that means you have an eye on the market and you have your ears in the industry. So we will talk about that a little bit more, but I just wanted to show you the data that my students from the program have gone everywhere. And part of the reason is that we take assessment very seriously, both formative assessment and summative assessment, which part of it, which I will teach you today. So I always like to start a class or a seminar with some joke here. So you might not have that slide because I do not like to give the joke away beforehand. But if you say bad dog or bad cat, they say, hey, can I have some feedback here? Can you tell me why I am a bad dog? Or that means why I'm not doing a good exam, or why I can't be so successful while I'm studying so much. What is happening? And here, if I can see it. Let me see. So it says, is the test to test us for the test to see if we are ready for the test? So students are always very anxious about assessment. They are always anxious about exams and quizzes. So they do not know that what is coming, and if they have studied a lot, will it translate into success or not? So it is very important that communication between a teacher and the students is open. And assessment actually also is a way to open communication. So let's start with something what you already know. And even if you don't know, there is nothing to be nervous about. We are working here together. I always say learning is a two-way street. I am learning from you, you are learning from me. I'm ahead of you in the game, so I have this amazing opportunity to be able to teach you today. But that doesn't mean I am not learning from you. So what I would like all of the participants to do is that think about what is the most frustrated thing about assessment. And I am going to give you 30 seconds and you think about it. And hopefully all of you have a pen and a paper ready with you. So I would like you to write it down, actually. And if you're done with that, what I would like you to think is that what is your favorite teaching or learning moment? Think for 30 seconds and write that one down also. A very frustrated moment about assessment, and then a favorite teaching moment for you. Okay. Once you have written it down, what I would like is that some people, if any of you, can share it in the chat box, or you can raise hand and administration can open the mic for you. And in 2 sentences, please tell your name and then tell me assessment is frustrating because why? And your favorite teaching moment is what? Can somebody share it?
Okay, guys. Mics are open.
I have.
Anybody? I think
Rifat
Dar is here.
Okay.
Miss Rifat Dar, she want to say something. Miss Rifat, Dr. Rifat.
Rifat, go ahead.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum to all, and thank you very much, Dr. Gulfishan. It's nice to, have you with us.
No
And
problem.
your question that the most frustrated moment that the students are afraid of, that we are going to check their ability. And I am sure that students are afraid of sharing their abilities. Probably they have not yet grabbed the exact knowledge we are trying to passing on to
Okay.
them.
And what is the favorite teaching moment?
And the favorite teaching moment for me is that we as a teacher want to transfer all what we have inside us.
Okay, okay, that's wonderful. Okay, so what I would like to take from here is that it is very important that you communicate it to the students. All of the teachers communicate to the students that a stakeholder in an assessment is who? Who is the person who is going to get impacted or affected by assessment? And it is very important that students know that actually students themselves are going to get impacted and affected by assessment. So are the alums. Their jobs depend upon this. Does faculty get impacted? Absolutely. Administration, yes. Parents and guardians, they are paying all the fees. They do not want their child to be the same when he or she went to the university and when they come out. Accreditation bodies, ABET, HCL, Higher Learning Commission, HLC, or ABET, Accreditation Agency internationally, they count on your assessment, because assessment basically tells the quality of the education that we are giving. And funding agencies, which is very important, how the alums behave towards their own alma mater when they go away and are successful, and then they come back and they can help the university. So it's a culture. It's like we are together in it. It's not that we are here, I am going to check you and you are going to be checked. That relationship between student and teacher has to go away. The relationship now in the world is that you and me are together in this. We learn together and we do assessment together. So that is very important, that we tell our students that who is the stakeholder in this assessment. They are, and so are we. So we are impacted equally. So why do assessment? The first thing you want to do assessment is not for the students. It's because that it improves our teaching tremendously, because the feedback from students also tell that what kind of teacher I was and how I help them become better. And if I am doing the correct job, if I am holding myself accountable first, and I am proving that there is evidence that I have made them learn and make them a better person and a better professional, what will happen is that I am demonstrating the value of my university. So let's say if you are in Qaid Azam University or in Milwaukee School of Engineering where I'm teaching, if I demonstrate value, that value will be seen by ABET accreditation. When we went through the biomolecular engineering program, we went through accreditation without any deficiency, without any weakness, or without even a concern. In flying colors, we went through it. And the reason was that we kept the assessment and the teaching abilities and matching very, very close to each other. So it's very important that you demonstrate value. That means that you tell the students that accountability in life is very important, because once you will do that, you will produce a better student, a better productive alum who will, when go on a job, make the alma mater very proud, and at the same time will take pride in doing the work. So tell them that assessment is like part of learning, and it is assessing that how much we know. So we will talk more about it. And another thing that all teachers like you and me need to understand, that it's a no ending game. Assessment is not that I did it 1 year and next year I say, I don't have to do it now, I'm a great teacher. Because being a good teacher is a process that never ends, and so is assessment. So you design something, you implement it, You assess what you implemented, you reflect on that, you think about that, you change it, you revise it, and you design it again, and you implement it again, and you assess it again. And that cycle never stops. But it is important that there is an it person who is in charge of assessment, so that that person can tell you that in continuous improvement, how our work will be done. Will we run a 3-year cycle, or will we run a 5-year cycle, or will we run a 4-year cycle or a 6-year cycle? Some people match their cycle with ABET coming. Some people match their cycle of the university with Higher Learning Commission or Higher Education Commission coming. So it depends, but there has to be a it person. Unless there is a in charge of assessment, people will do assessment in different design. And as a result, students will be confused because all the classes or all the courses have a different version of assessment. And it is important that you create commonality in that also. So now you have to participate again. So what I would like you to do is take your pen and pencil and you draw your ideal student. At the end of your course, who is your ideal student? Name that student. Then I would like you to describe your student in 1 or 2 words, just 1 or 2 words, not long essay or anything. What do they do? What do you want your students to do? What do you want your students to know? Just 1 or 2 words. What do they think about science or engineering in your mind? And if you're not teaching science and engineering, you can change it accordingly: music, arts, social sciences, whichever you would like to write. And what sort of person you want your student to be. Just 1 word. So at the end of this, I would like somebody to raise hand. Rifat was great. So this time somebody else, please raise your hand and tell us those 4 words. What you want your students to do. What would you like your students to know? What do they think about science and engineering or any other major that you are teaching them? And what sort of person you would like them to be. 1 word. 1 word for each category. I don't see any hands as yet.
Okay, anybody? Let's get the volunteer over here.
So Rifat, you talked already. I would like another person to actually share their thoughts. We will come back to you, Rifat, I promise.
Okay, so let me, somebody should get in.
Yeah. It is important that we interact. It will be great if one of you can do this, please.
Okay, I think, this was a message from Dr. Da. Okay.
Okay.
Wow. Looks like a hard question. Everybody is, staying shy.
That's okay. Don't be shy.
See, so maybe I can jump in.
One of the other things that I always teach my students is, at the most we be wrong.
We have someone. Please go ahead, sir.
Okay, Shamsad. Go ahead. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go forward with it. Hi, Shamsad. So I think there's a Wi-Fi issue. So if you see
Wi-Fi looks like that. Yeah.
Sorry, I got muted. So is it okay now?
Yes, this is good. Please go ahead.
All right. So what do they do? So for me, so they're the ones who really take part in class. So active participation.
Taking participation.
Yeah.
What do they know?
So what do they know? So they do certain homework before coming to class.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. So what do they think about, I'm from humanities. Yeah. So basically, it's open-mindedness. So they are eager to learn.
Okay, awesome.
Yes.
Okay.
And what sort of person?
What sort of person you want them to be?
I really want them to be open-minded and creative and critical. So to have a critical bent of mind, so to inquisitive, asking question, and open to new areas of knowledge.
Okay, so I would like everybody to know that Shamsad has actually done the bull's eye. I couldn't have said it better because I am sure that if all of you now look back into your notes, I do not think that any of you have said, I want them to know the definition of atom, or I always want them to take a shower and before come to class, because those things don't matter. Because in the bigger picture, what happens is that when you think about it, what you want your students to know, what you want your students to do, and what you think that what kind of person they should be, it is always the values that who they will become at the end of your course, who they will become at the end of the degree, and how they will carry themselves when they go into the world out there. So I have made my cartoon and I have named my student as Afshan. And what I would like Afshan to know is that what are the rules of the road? For example, if my students read my syllabus, that will be great. How to find resources. I want to train them to know how to do the literature search and go in the library, and they should be very able to do it. How to finish what you start, because that shows that you have commitment, with your degree, with your course, with teaching, with learning, and all that. What I want them to do, I want them to be a team player. I cannot make them a team player, but I can wish that they should be team player. I want them to provide a honest feedback to me. I want them to note down dates of exams and tests so that they can be successful. I want them to do servant leadership. Servant leadership means there are many good characteristics in them. They are empathetic, they are sympathetic, they are innovative, they are inclusive, and things like that. And I want them to think that hard work pays off. I want them to think honesty is the best policy, or just like Shamsad said, open-mindedness, or liberal view about things. Let the learning come into me. Let me question my abilities. Let me learn, right? And they should have think in terms of compassion for others, sympathies for others, and include everybody. So if I say I know everything, that means I have put a curtain, I cannot learn anymore. But if I say I always have room to learn, then I will strive to learn. So it is important that if you have this framework, whatever that framework is, you do not have to have my framework. Shamsad has tell his framework. So his framework, once he has figured out that he wants his student to be open-minded, he wants his student to know, work hard and know the rules of the road, what he has done is he has put together a framework of the goals and objectives of his course. Voila, congratulations. Because you have basically thought, what is it that you want your student to be? Because students are not about that they can write a definition of atom or definition of neutron. It's beyond that, right? Because at the end, you want to see what is the product, what is your final product you can be proud of. So here is another assignment for you. And this assignment, I have put some statements here. And your job is to start reading these statements and just put a tick, whether you think it is a goal or whether you think it is an objective. What do you think? Is it a goal or an objective? Because for assessment, it is very important that you understand that what is a goal? What is the goal of your course? What is the goal of the degree we are providing them? And what is the objective of that? Those are two very different things. So just take your pencil and tick. And I promise you, I will not call anybody to tell me which one is which, because I have the answer for you. But I would like you to do that practice first before I go to the next slide. So I'll give you about 15 seconds. And if you have done that, so now you see in this workshop, we are students and teacher. So I am playing the role of a teacher and you are playing the role of a student. And I do that in my class all the time. I give them an assignment like this, and then I say, you do not have to show me the answer. There is no grade or degrade for this. But I would like you to check yourself that where do you stand with your knowledge, or where do you stand with what you know about this. So I am going to go one by one. The students will work effectively in teams. Think again that have you put your check in a goal, or have you put your check in an objective? But actually it is a goal, because this is not, you cannot quantify it. If they effectively work in a team, that is an attitude. Attitudes are very difficult to assess, right? So it is like basically a behavior, and it is not tangible. So you cannot like put points against it. The student will value other member inputs by incorporating good ideas and suggestions in the project. That is an objective, because why? Because there's a record of that. If I am giving you this lecture today, there's a record of that Gul give this workshop, right? So it goes in my resume. So when students like take part into things, they have the record of that, and that becomes your objective, that they always become a valuable member and bring good ideas. Students will be able to explain how species and populations interact in a dynamic fashion in communities, and that is also an objective because it is tangible. Students will understand how to use concepts and principles of ecology. That is a goal, because when we say understand, as soon as I said understand, I have no way of knowing if my student understand what I think he has understood or not. So that is very difficult to tangibly put into an exam, right? I can only ask the facts. Students will be enthusiastic about pursuing career in STEM. So let's say your students want to go in the education. That is a good goal, but it is very difficult that I put a number on that, how enthusiastic people are. Or students will choose 3 STEM summer research programs, which is tangible. You know that which summer programs they went, which universities they went, what they did certification, degrees, everything. So it becomes an objective. So you see the difference, that one is very tangible and one is very abstract. And therefore your students need to know that what are the goals of your course? What are the objectives of your course? So the things sometimes the teachers think at the end of the course, you are not supposed to do that. We are supposed to think about goals and objectives of a course before starting the course. Before starting the degree, we need to like start assessment. So assessment starts from here. You think about goal and objectives. So here I have given you goals and objectives and give you the difference between them. I will not go through all of them, but one important one is measurable. You see, so under the goal, it says not necessarily measurable. It's not tangible, but objective is always measurable. There are numbers, there are skill sets, there are specific things that you can ask, and then you can put a grade or something against it. So it is important that you, in your syllabus, you tell them what are the goals of a course and what is the objective of that course. Then what you can do is, as an exercise with your, for your course, whatever course you are teaching, I would like you to write 1 or 2 learning objectives of your course. And when you write those learning objectives, you can write it now or you can write it later after the workshop. But those objectives have to fulfill these qualities, all of these qualities. For example, do your goals align with the mission of the program? Do you know what is the mission of the program? If I do not know the vision and what is the total mission of MSOE, I have very poor role then as a teacher. I need to know that what is the mission, what is the obligation, what is the vision of MSOE. Most of the time it is written on the website of the university. So align your course with that. that how you are fulfilling that mission, how you are fulfilling that vision. The objective has to be specific, it has to be measurable, it has to be achievable. You cannot put the bar so high. For example, freshmen will be different, sophomores will be different, the last year students, juniors and seniors will be different. So it has to be achievable. When they come from high school and come into the college or a university, they practically are kids. They have just learned high school. Even when they come to the university, they have the college mentality still, so it is important. And it has to be relevant. If I teach biology, of course I cannot ask a question about philosophy, right? So it always has to be relevant. It has to be time sensitive. That means that you need to meet the objectives in a semester or in a quarter, and you cannot have such a lofty objective that it cannot be met. So you want your student to be successful. You need to set up students for success. That's what I tell my students. I am on your side. I may not look like on your side because I'm sitting on the other side and I am responsible for your grades, but your success is my success. If you look good, I look better. You look better, I look like stars. So I am on your side. So let's do it together. Let's help you learn. And then you have to language focuses on what students will be able to demonstrate. So you have to tell very early on to students that what I am trying to teach you, but do not just rote memorize it. What you should demonstrate by learning this, right? Definition is one thing, but can you apply it? If you apply it, where will you apply it? How you will use it in your real life when you do a job in industry or in a college or university. So you have to show them the bigger picture. And this is Bloom's taxonomy. And this Bloom's taxonomy basically tell us that we should create something, we should evaluate it, analyze it, then apply it, and then see the understanding of the students in it. So the saying goes, if you see something, you will forget. If you hear something, you will forget. But if you see something and hear something at the same time, you will remember it. So show them, right? Show them on the blackboard, show them by videos, show them while you're talking, be visual about that, right? So for example, if you design an experiment, evaluate that experiment. And I love this picture because it is a picture of like a measure. So that means, can they measure what they have created objectively? Can they say objectively, oh my God, that's a pretty bad job I did, And then they will not be fighting with you that why they have a C and not an A, because they have to evaluate their own work. They should be able to analyze the work. That means interpret. When we say interpret, that means if I have a PhD, but I cannot communicate what I know to you, my PhD is useless to you. My students do not care. Your students do not care that if you are a PhD. They only care that what you are teaching them, can they comprehend, and can you communicate it better? So it is important that you will be able to interpret things better yourself so that your students can interpret it, and then show them how it is applicable. I always bring an example from their mom's kitchen. I bring an example from like their daily life, like the fashion, like the things they eat. I say, look, it is applicable here. Look how the chips are packed. Do you know how in industry chips are packed? Because you're going to be an engineer tomorrow. Do you know how the shipping and supplying work? So I bring examples from daily life. So show them the application. That will bring understanding and they will remember it. They might forget all the definitions and everything, but one good example where you have quack like a parrot, or you have said meow in the class, they will remember, oh, Gul did meow, that it was that example, So have that, relationship, that constructive, but very professional relationship with them. So how do we assess whether students are mastering our learning objectives or LOs, right? How do we know that our students are learning? So if from today's workshop, if you want to take one thing with you, one single thing with you, I would like you to take this. Align all assessment activities with your objectives. First day of the class, spend time on your syllabus. Tell them what is my objective. They can be 3, they can be 7, they can be 2, they can be 1. My objective is to help you understand the quantum physics by the end of this semester. And I am going to do it how? Tell them. Have a conversation, have a talk with the students. Ask them that what are their ideas? How can we best learn this together? Because you know better than them anyway. You're ahead of them. You have your PhD or master's. You are there to teach them. So if we do not have a hostile relationship, but if you have a good relationship, they will learn better. And I assure you, you will enjoy better. You will enjoy your teaching much more. I enjoy my teaching every day. So it is very important that you have learning objectives on the top here. It is very important that these learning objectives match with the assessment tools that you use. And those assessment tools also have to match with your grading. These things go hand in hand. I cannot teach them moon, ask the question for the sun, and grade them in water. I cannot do that. I have to teach them moon, ask the question about a moon, and do the grading about the stars and the moon. These things have to talk with each other. And you will be amazed at how it opens a door of clarity for students. It is amazing that how their learning behavior changes when our behavior changes. We tell them more, right? So objectives and assessment tools and grading and feedback is not only for us to become better teachers. It also produces better students. So here I'm showing you that ideally a formative assessment is step-by-step assessment. Every quiz you give, every exam you give, every small surprise, 1-minute discussion you do, that is all formative assessment. But ultimately it should lead into a summative assessment. And a summative assessment, like it says, it's a sum of all the formal steps that you have taken here. So formative assessment should lead into summative assessment. What I'm telling you, show them a goal, show them a destination. At the end of this semester, at the end of this year, by taking minute quizzes or sarcastic teaching, like asking questions and getting answers back in the class, let them prompt like I'm doing with you, or going over the muddiest points, all this will make them what? A better engineer, a better doctor, a better nurse, a better human being, right? So for example, when I teach nurses, I say, do you want to be a nurse or do you want to be an outstanding nurse? And they say, I want to be an outstanding nurse. And I said, okay, now we have a goal. I say, do you want to be just an engineer or you want to be a great, outstanding engineer? And they say, oh, I want to be an outstanding engineer. And I said, okay, let's work then. We have work to do, right? So it is important that you have that relationship, that you tell them how much work you do behind the scenes. And you do it for them, for their betterment. You have a career already. You are trying to build their career, but it is hidden from students. Students do not know that actually you are building their career. You need to tell them, okay? And so I have given you some examples. In knowledge, when you want to check the knowledge, there is direct and indirect assessment. So direct assessment is knowledge and skills. For example, I can ask how many milliliters in a liter. This is like exact question. It is tangible. I can put a grade next to it. Skill sets. Can my students put a PCR reaction together? Because I'm a biologist, so I put a PCR, and a biotechnology PCR is very important. You can think of some skill set that they absolutely need to have, right? In a music, can your student read music and play piano at the same time, right? And then attitudes, is your student inclusive? As soon as you get into this area, this is indirect assessment. This you cannot do by exams or quizzes or anything, because somebody is inclusive or not, somebody is nice or not, somebody is mean or not, somebody is always late in a meeting, somebody is always on time on a meeting. You can't put a number on that. Those are attitudes, right? So skill and knowledge is the direct assessment, which most of the accreditation agencies want. And indirect assessment is allowed, but it's soft. So therefore, it is good for higher learning commission, or if for scholarships, or for their resume, or when you come to write a letter of recommendation for a student, these things count at that time. And they can therefore only be done by either you send a survey to a boss and let them write, or ask people to talk about their leader, ask people to say things about each other. So self-evaluation and evaluation of the teammates will give you this kind of things. So indirect assessment can be done by interviews, focus groups, surveys, questionnaires, like I just said it. And in classroom research, what I have given you here is that your assessments start before your course start. So pre-course questions, what do you want to know? What are the demographic questions you can ask your class? Ask them, why are they taking your course? I always ask my students, I say, please stand up, tell your name, tell me where are you from, and why are you in my class? And they all laugh, and I tell them, well, you are in a cell culture class, you are in a biotechnology 2 class, why are you taking this class? And then they have to think, they have to come up with an answer. Level of experience, ask them if they have taken the prerequisites. Ask them that what is their science, what do they think about science? One of our participants said, I want my students open-minded, right? This is a perfect question to ask. Science attitude question, arts attitude question. What do you want to do with it? What do you want to do in your life? Where do you see yourself in 5 years, right? Make them think about themselves, about their own future, because you are not going to hand them a future. You're going to hand them skill sets, which they will take and make a future. So you can't give them a job. You will give them skill sets so that they can go and get a job, or become a business administrator, or become a graduate student, and so forth. Here I have given you example. This is my form that I give to my students. So for example, these are all the ABET accreditation objectives. Okay, these are, and I put them in line. And for example, I ask them an ability to communicate effectively with a range of audience. And students are asking this, students are filling this out anonymously. So they can say, not applicable. Because if I have not done any presentations in my class and not given them a chance to communicate with a range of audience, then they have not applicable. But if I given them very meager and weak chance, they can write very low or they can write very high. So all this like evaluation of my teaching, and if I have met the objectives and goals of my class, this is coming from my students. And you can use a form like this, or you can make a form of your own. Similarly, this is a different university form, right? And always give them this choice, not applicable, prefer not to answer, always give them a choice, right? More we treat them like equal, more they will behave more mature and equal. So you have to let them do a very respectful but open and honest assessment of us. And that leads into you doing course assessment much better. Ask about attitudes of science, their openness, whatever you need to know. So these are all these forms that I have given you examples that what you can ask them. And if you need an example from me, just either through Murtaza, or you can write to me and I will be able to help you. In direct assessment, that is the most easy one, because most of us as teachers know them. We have exams, quizzes, presentations, demonstrations, reports. We have senior design documents. We have like theses, so those are pretty easy. And faculty is like very familiar with them. But again, I cannot teach them X and ask all the questions about the Y. So for example, To my students, I always give them a study guide, and I give them sometimes my last year exam, and I tell them, um, straightforward, I am a very strict teacher who would like you to be very disciplined, but I am on your side because I would like you to learn. And I also tell them that grades do not come from my pocket. They are yours. My whole class can have an A, but on that note, my whole class can have an F too, because the grade is earned and they have to like work to earn that grade. So it's time for your participation again. I would like you to think, what two big challenges did you face in March, last March, in the spring 2020, with online assessment? Once you give them an exam online or a quiz online, or you ask them to do a report online, what was your biggest challenge? Tell me in 1 or 2 words. You have 30 seconds. I'm sure that you all know what that challenge was, or you can write it in the chat box for me. Okay, Rifat has her hand up. Rifat, please go ahead. Can you?
Yes, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity once again.
Sure.
And as a teacher, I always face, till now, till today, the students are not yet mentally prepared for online examination. As my expertise and as my research area as a teacher is fine arts, so the students are never been satisfied to show up their work on online screen program. So, and for me as a teacher, I myself say that it's not justified to judge a student's skill, a manual skill on online screen.
Okay.
So,
So anyone else who can tell me another challenge, a different challenge? Okay, Siri, please go ahead.
Yeah. I have one class when I teach about the organic synthesis.
Yeah,
So
just
when
tell me your challenge of
yeah,
online assessment when you give them an exam or a quiz.
so they cannot write down the mechanism
Okay.
directly. So it's difficult for me.
Yes, online writing a mechanism for organic chemistry is very hard. Yes. So those are very viable challenges, right? One of the big, thank you so much, both of the participants. One of the biggest challenge that happened in America, I would like to share with you. That was cheating. So once you start giving exams and quizzes online, you do not actually know that at the end of the day, who was doing that exam, who was, besides the technical difficulties, like which Siri has just told us, that it's technically very difficult if you don't have the software. I can tell you some of the softwares which are very easy to write these things, um, but one of the great problem is that not everybody has a computer at home. So at MSOE, what we do is we provide a computer, right? We provide a computer to every single student, but that is not true in the universities in America. This is not like nationwide. Not every university provide a laptop to their students. So MSOE in that way is a little ahead, because I know this much, that every student has a laptop and it has like a full office on it. Plus we provide many software which are needed. So we can talk about those challenges also. But one thing that you need to talk to your students once they go online about assessment, please talk to them about integrity. You need to talk to them also about technical difficulties. So teachers many times think that they do not have enough power to change like the government or change the funding towards the university. You do, because if you take a poll from students, that all the students, let's say in architectural engineering, need a certain software which the university can buy as a license, but you have no poll. But if you take the poll and 90% students in your class say, I need this software, you can take it to the vice chancellor can take it to the higher learning commission, and there's a chain of command that goes. So we talk to our students about things, we take a poll. And it is important that when you do online assessment, you talk about integrity, please talk about school policy. You need to be present yourself there. It is very important. Like, I am talking to you and I'm interacting with you. When I teach a class, I tell them, because I know their names and everything, I say, so and so, please open your mic and answer this question. I call on them. I am present. And there is synchronous teaching and asynchronous teaching. Synchronous teaching is you teach them at the same time when the class is. And if you are present, I assure you they will come. Then you cannot give high stake exams. You cannot give the same exam that you used to give in the classroom. They are unable to do that. You have to make many small quizzes and make attainable goals. And for example, if Siri tell me the problems that they cannot write the mechanism for organic chemistry, then look for a platform for them. Whiteboard is a good platform. They can just take a pencil and just like draw it just like a pen, because it is hard to find a licensed program. And stay in your learning management system. I will show you, you can use Blackboard, you can use Canvas, you can ask your university to get Blackboard for you or get Canvas for you. And then it is university's job to hold the training sessions, just like you are with me right now. I am today all day from 9:30 to 4 o'clock in a training session, because now I'm learning Canvas, and from Blackboard we are moving to Canvas. So it is like responsibility has to be on the administration, on the teachers, then on the students. So if I don't know it, chances that my students know it are 0. So I have to know it like the back of my hand so that I can help my students. So with this online thing come, teacher training is very important. Like you are with me right now. Here I have given you a lot of like ideas that how to make an exam or a quiz, like what kind of exams and quizzes you should make. So for example, you can move to the open book, because that will take away cheating part, and open book exams are difficult, so you can give them more time, right? You can give them right test questions that require higher order of thinking, right? You can create quizzes that go into the Blackboard or that go into the Canvas. Those are the platforms on which you can give online exam, and they cannot cheat. I'll show you in a minute. And you can change to projects and papers. So for example, everybody has a cell phone. Everybody in Pakistan, in Bangladesh, in Saudi Arabia, everybody has a cell phone. Almost everybody has a cell phone. So if your student does not have a computer, they can do all their work on a piece of paper, take a picture, PDF scan it, because there are apps everywhere and younger generation know about all the apps. There's a list of apps I'm giving you also. And if you write to me that you want a certain app, I'll find for you and give it to you. And they can scan it, and then they can scan their work to you. It's like not difficult at all. So you just have to learn how to tell them that I still need your work. Sorry, you still have to write the mechanism, but you can take a picture and then PDF, scan it, and then send it to me. So formative assessment is like step by step by step by step. We go on the roof. And summative assessment is standardized test, for example. That means when I prepare an MSOE student, when he or she leaves me after 4 years or 2 years, they should be able to go anywhere in the world and be able to use their skills in a new environment, in a new applicability. That's my success as a teacher. Otherwise, I'm not successful. Just because I teach my student 2 + 2 is 4, and he cannot tell that 3 + 1 is also 4, then I am not a successful teacher. If I teach my student 2 plus 2 is 4 and he can go somewhere else and say 3 plus 1 is also 4, oh, wait, then I'm a successful teacher. Application of the knowledge is the summative assessment, the ultimate assessment, right? Its exhibition is your student success. And always go with the rubrics, because this lecture is different, so we will not talk about rubrics today. So there has to be a purpose. It has to be transparent. I already said that. Go into your class, talk to your students, tell them what we all need to do together. And that purpose has to be very clear to them, that what skill sets you are trying to teach them. Then what is the task ahead? Yeah, we have one semester, we have one quarter, we have 1 year, and we have to do A, B, C, and D. And how we are going to do it. What is the criteria of doing it? And then give them an example. Always give them an example. Show them a rubric, right? So when I was in Qaeda Azim University, my math teacher was an amazing teacher, Dr. Saleem, and he first day brought us into the class and he gave us an example that how we will fail at the end of the quarter if we do not pass one of his exams. And we all were scared. But I think that was a great scare because we didn't fail. So that is important that you do that to your students. I have given you some sources. If you go here, you can, 1, 2, 3, you will find many, many multiple choice questions, true and false questions, how to make good true and false questions, tips for writing essay, open-ended questions. I have given you these links. All of these links are active. I have checked them. If you, after the workshop, you should go on them and learn. And if you have any difficulty, let me know. These are comparison of common assessment types. So let's take one example only. Something that is easy to grade. That will be your true and false or multiple choice or matching. That is easy to grade. Essay exam is medium to grade. Written work and reports, they are hard to grade because they take much more time. But if you want to measure deep learning, in deep learning, true and false will not give you deep learning, how much your student know. In multiple choice, you will not come to know that. In essay exam, maybe. But if a report is written, you will really come to know if your student is thinking and he can do the deep learning or not. So I have given you that different kind of assessment, direct or indirect, give you different kinds of results about your student. And here I have given you online assessment tools, Blackboard or Canvas. It is a web-based server software. Many of you might already know it. It is perfect. It is wonderful for assessment. Last winter, it took me a huge amount of time, but I made all my exams and quizzes in Blackboard, and my students took all those exams and quizzes in Blackboard, and I did it with Respondes. Respondes is lockdown. Lockdown means that once they open my exam, everything locked down. They cannot surf the media, they cannot Google anything, they cannot change their screen. If they change their screen, they basically are spit out of the exam. So Respondes Lockdown is a great browser, which is free, by the way. It comes with Blackboard or Canvas. It comes with both of them. So university can buy it for you. It is good for Windows, it is good for Mac, right? And what happens is that I put a lot of time in making the Blackboard and Canvas exams, but when student took it, like that, it's graded. It's already graded. And so it is an immediate, no extra time is needed for students to see their grade, no extra time for me to grade it, because Blackboard will grade it for you as you set it up. And it will take all those, all of these kind of questions. It can make true, false, multiple choice, matching, essay, written reports, all those kind of questions can be made in Blackboard and Canvas. Microsoft Teams is very good for synchronous lectures. It is free. And if you're not used to Microsoft Teams, go to Google Forms. Google Forms or Google Teams is free all over the world. It is very good. You know, the forum I am talking on right now. It is very, very good, you know, worldwide available. VidGrid is a platform which allow you to make very good videos, and then you can put it for your students. So I have made a lot of videos of my labs during the spring, and then send them when they see the video. Then they come back, I answer all their questions, and then I am able to put it in assessment. I am able to put it in a quiz or an exam, that during the video you saw me pouring fetal bovine serum into the basic media. What did I make? So if they can say that, oh, you make a complete media, that means their answer is correct, right? So you have to reinvent yourself with all these platforms that are available. Here I have given you all of these links are active for you on the slide. You can click on any of them, you see that it is active. So these are 20 formative and summative assessment tools for teachers, and they are used all over the world, and you have to find out what is your style. If you are a quiz kind of person, go to Quizlet. If you want to do formative assessment, go to formative. If you want to go to Flipgrid, that means flip classroom, that means students learn first and then they come back and you ask questions, then go to that one. So spend a little bit of time seeing first, like reflect and reevaluate that what kind of teacher are you? Are you always asking an essay? Are you always asking fill in the blanks or something like that? And accordingly, all these tools will be very helpful for you. And this is my last slide where I say that, oh my, he passed every single one of those multiple choice tests and now he cannot open the parachute. So this is like a good example of a student who is very good at doing multiple choice, but at the same time cannot do the deep thinking. And if your goal is for your students to deeply think, then your lecture has to match with the assessment. That means you have to ask difficult questions to judge that if the deep thinking or the deep embedded concepts have taken root in the student or not. And one of the best way of doing that is that you talk to the teacher who is teaching the next course for which you are the prerequisite. One of the things that I have seen in the teaching world is that teachers don't talk to each other. And not because of any bad reason, because they think it's not part of like being a good teacher, but it is. What happens is that once you talk to the teacher, let's say I am teaching a course, Biotech 1, but my students are going to go to Biotech 2 after that. I better go and talk to Biotech 2 teacher that, hey, these are my goals. Are they matching or mapping with your class? Because now you are taking them one level higher. That is like one of the best thing you can do to yourself as a teacher and for the assessment. And do not be shy in using this argument with your students, saying that, well, you are taking Biotech 1 with me, or Physics 1 or Chemistry 1 with me. You're going to Chemistry 2 or Biotech 2 next course. If you do not learn what amino acids and proteins are here, you might not be able to run a protein gel in your next class. So your cumulative success depends upon your small successes everywhere. So what I'm telling them, your formative assessment will help you become successful in your summative assessment. I hope I have helped, and I hope I have able to teach you a few new things and refresh a few things that you already know. I'm here to help, and I thank you. You have been great listeners and great participants. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Professor. I think everybody enjoyed greatly. I mean, what a great lecture and very comprehensive. And what I can say, I mean, a scientist is a scientist who can convey the ideas in a layman language. You really did it. I think people from all domains, all discipline might have understood in a great way. So we won't let you go. I know because your lecture was, of course, I mean, very elaborate lecture. But I think there should be few questions.
Absolutely.
So yeah, yeah. Who would like to ask questions first?
Yes, please.
Okay, I see over here. Excellent presentation. Thank you. Wonderfully presented. I have connectivity to auto grading is possible only for multiple choice question. Matching true false is not good for even anybody. I want to have a question, you know. Anyone? Just open
Uh,
your mic and get in. Is someone around?
yeah, can I have a question?
Yeah,
Sure,
sure,
please,
sure.
please go
Please go
ahead.
ahead. Please.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Your presentation is very good. And I have two questions actually. First, regarding about in this pandemic, we know that we have so many things. Uh, Actually, it's about the connecting. Or what's it? The signal, the network. So, when we have online lecture, then they have problems with internet connectivity. So
Yes.
what should we do? So
Okay.
that's the question.
Let
The
me answer that one, and then I will take
yeah,
the next one. So, this is a very good question. Connectivity is not a problem of your world only. It is a problem all over the world. Okay, because many universities and schools like move to online teaching, and also at the same time we are all on Zoom, we are all on MS Teams, we are all on like Google. So it is like bandwidth, only can go that far, right? So some schools do not have that. So the best solution for that is move to something called asynchronous teaching. And asynchronous teaching is when you record your lecture beforehand. I have done it, right? Uh, you record your lecture, make your PowerPoint, voice over it. All computers will allow you to voice over, and then send it to the students. Then make sure that they have a deadline. The deadline is that you have 3 days to go over these, and then we will have a discussion session. Or you can say that you have 1 week to look over these three sets of slides, and then I will answer all the questions whosoever has questions, because then you have done your job. You have told them that I have provided you the resources that help you teach, so you have to take a little bit of responsibility. And do not be shy about saying that not all students have the same Wi-Fi capabilities, and I have to have equity. I have to practice equity, and that's why I need to be same with all students. And therefore, I'm recording my lectures, I'm sending it to all of you. But if any of you would like to talk, I am available here for answering any questions, and go from there. It's called flipped classroom. So change to asynchronous flipped classroom. That will help you. Have I answered your question?
yes. Thank you so much.
Sure.
And
Ask the second question, please.
yeah, the second question is about the assessment for skill. I
Okay.
mean, I'm a chemist. So how we assess the skill of the student. I mean, how they, for example, if we don't have a chance to uh, have an experiments in the laboratory because we still have a pandemic, and we have difficulties to access the skill.
So again, this is an amazing and very good question, and very valid question. So there are two parts to this question. Okay, first problem is, or challenge is, that we cannot be in the lab. And something that you teach in the lab, it's very hard to teach online, right? So that's the first challenge. For that, what I will tell you, that you immediately need to talk to your publisher. So many publishers, the people who, you must be following a book, right? So that those people have a whole team. Their job is to make online activities for students. So for example, I told my biochemistry publisher that I need biochemistry experiments in proteins, enzymes, amino acids, DNA, RNA, and metabolism. And if you do not have any online activity with your book, I might have to change my publisher and change the book, right? I was very open about it. And you can do that because they have the means to actually put activities together, videos and things from Google. They put together many things, and they can actually make, if you teach 13 labs in a semester, they might give you 6, you know. So there's a compromise. So that is one thing you definitely should do. The second challenge is, how do we assess that? Oh my God, that's hard, right? So what I will tell you what I have done, or what MSOE has done, and many teachers have done here. So we have revived something called oral interviews. Remember in when we were kids, you know, they were always like a oral viva voce. And that was like when teacher asked us some questions about the lab, or the, you are in chemistry, so like when we do salts, like unknown salts or something like that, you know, you can ask some questions. So you have to change that. So either you make teams of 3 in your class, tell them to go through the videos, and analytically you have to prepare, like, let's say 10 questions per video, and ask them that, make sure that you know these 10 things. If they are doing an enzymes, let's say they are doing enzymes lab, then they should know the definition of an enzyme. They know why the enzymes are specific. They should understand that what is the kinetics of the enzymes, you know, what part enzymes play in my body, in digestion. So those kind of things. And once you do that, you basically pull those questions out from the objectives of your lab. So whatever lab activity there is, make sure that those questions, they reflect your lab activity. So although they are not doing the lab activity, you still can embed the deep thought about the activity. And we live in very different world right now. So we have to do that. It's not ideal, but it will work. Salman, Simon?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Professor, we have so many questions, you know. So I think we need to have a separate session on question, you know.
Absolutely.
If you don't mind, you know, because I see everybody is going to ask some question, and they are very challenging and very relevant question, and they want to know about that one. So,
So,
I think.
may I ask, is Murtaza online? Can we, Murtaza, can we put them in a Word document and send it to me so that I can answer all the questions? Because I would not like participants to just go away without having their questions answered. But I can answer them later, and we can post them.
So what we are doing, we will be posting your lecture on Global Academic Leader Academy channel. And over there, we can get all your these, because we are recording it in Zoom.
Okay.
All these questions, we will send it to you. And at the bottom in the comment section, we can bring all these questions and they can get answer. And because in Zoom, you know, everybody question is with their name. So I think that will be very good if we can do that one.
So that is perfectly okay. So there are many good questions I am looking at, that, for example, about IT and how do we do that. I can also connect you to people who can help you with the IT softwares and IT question answers and IT exams. So I have many also colleagues who can help you in certain areas. So make sure that you put your questions so that we can help you.
So well, I think we will be definitely getting. I mean, what a pleasant lecture. What an amazing. I mean, it's such a beautiful evening. I mean, I know it's a morning on your side, but we,
Yes,
we really enjoy. We really everybody is enjoying, and I
thank you.
can see the people, the same people who were with us. None of them has taken a nap. So everybody is listening very eagerly. Thank you
Wonderful.
very much. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
It
you.
is
I
my
mean.
great pleasure.
Yeah, yeah. And we look forward to your collaboration. So I will be sending you an email. Maybe I think you have been here already. So we want to bring you over here also. So help us in setting some biomedical engineering over here or
I will
bioengineering.
be very happy to. I start the program with scratch and I brought a $6 million grant and I built the labs also.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, this scale university will be very much, I think, interested on that side because we have a faculty of biomedical engineering. I think that's the time, person of your caliber can help us. So,
Absolutely. It
yeah,
will be my
we
great
talk to
pleasure.
HEC and we bring you over here. Yeah, because I am a neighbor of HEC. We share the wall. So,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
hopefully. Thank you very much. Thank you
Thank
again.